This trial is really not getting any coverage at all.
What, the Epstein thing?
Ghislaine Maxwell
It's
trial.
horrible.
And they essentially are now, they tried to get a retrial. Ghislaine tried to get a retrial.
Yeah.
And the judge threw it out, said no.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She stuck to his guns. And
Yeah, because she's getting sentenced this month. This is the month, end of the month, she gets sentenced to her community service. Right?
If that. Maybe house arrest for the rest of her life.
Is that what it is?
I don't know, but it's not going to be anything significant. They can't really do anything to her significant because, like, obviously, I mean, I know we talked about this before, but I personally, to me, I don't think Epstein's dead. I think he's just chilling. And
He had enough money. He could have done that.
and he's got too many secrets, man.
Yeah.
You don't think he had a nuclear bomb waiting in the background in case he ever got arrested? You don't think he had?
You'd have to.
You'd have to, man.
You were smart enough to plan all the things that he planned and got away with it for as many years as you did.
Yeah.
You had the ace up the sleeve. You had the
sure.
ace up the sleeve,
For sure.
right?
Dude, he's got a painting of Clinton in a dress in his house.
Man.
When you walk into his house in his foyer,
Yeah.
a full oil painting of Bill Clinton in a dress.
But how about that French guy that was providing? So there was the French guy that was providing all the girls, and there was Epstein that was shuffling them towards the rich and famous. But that other guy, the French guy, was found dead in a cell as well. Hung. He was hung in a cell, right? So is that guy still alive? Do you think? Or is that guy really dead? Like he was the weak link.
Yeah, I'm sure they were able to spare him, or I mean, I'm sure they were able to sacrifice him.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Ghislaine was like the recruiter of the teenagers.
Yeah.
Right. She would get the young ones and then kind of like get them used to being smuggled.
Yeah.
Right. And the idea that the biggest people that exist in the world, the most powerful people that exist in the world, all frequented this island.
Yeah, they did.
All were on these planes,
Yeah, they were.
including our prime minister,
Yeah.
including the current president of the U.S.,
Yeah.
and multiple world leaders.
So many.
And you're never going to know what happened. So they could just deny. There's mad plausible deniability, right? They
crazy.
can all be like, oh, well, we just went because we're friends. Like, you know, Trump said it before. Oh, we just friends. We just like to fly in his plane to and from the island. We didn't really stop on the island,
Yeah.
really. Really?
Yeah, it went all that way and didn't stop on the island.
Like, you know, and they can say that
Sick.
because once they hit the island, just blackout.
Dude, the Department of Justice in the United States is holding this information back from its citizens. It knows. I don't understand why we haven't had a leaked list. I don't understand. Like I was saying, you know, Bill
There's
Clinton.
there's partial lists that have like 30 names or something like
They
that.
haven't confirmed these things though. Like the media is kind of like they're either scared and they don't want to be the ones to do it because of the political backlash and maybe the threat of death
Yeah,
that
for
will
sure.
come to whoever releases this. Right? They're probably scared as fuck.
100%.
The Clintons, right?
But do you remember back in the day when there was like a crazy news story that popped off, journalists discovered a crazy news story, you would get like the journalists themselves presenting the news, like,
Yeah.
this is what we found, it's incredible, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And now it's like, I don't watch any news networks.
Yeah.
But I watch clips of news so that when we have conversations about it, we can address how terrible the shit
Yeah.
is that they do.
Yeah.
And every single news network reports the exact same news.
Yeah.
So there's no journalism actually being done.
No, it's just Associated Press.
That's
They all share everything.
It's all AP. That's it.
It's really sad. And it's kind of, I feel like it's the end of AP. Like, I feel like this is all coming to the end with all the streaming networks and like the online shit, and, you know, all this online news and on YouTube and all these other things, right?
Yeah.
And I think like it's kind of coming to an end, but you know, I think when CNN goes, that will be the first ball to drop. And I think they're almost on their way, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, like the really reputable names like New York Times have taken like huge hits over the past couple of years because they're
garbage.
mad hypocrites, right?
yeah.
So a lot of these
Washington Post.
Yeah, a lot of these big like foundational
Yeah.
journalistic information sites are considered a joke now.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's woke
everyone's
culture that's taking it down, right?
and everyone's becoming their own pundit.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's a pundit now. Everyone knows everything about everything. And it's fucked up because I'm one of those people that likes to engage people in these conversations.
Yeah.
And if I see you talking shit, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, I'm gonna call you up like, you're so stupid. Like, why are you even having this conversation?
Yeah.
There's things that you should just not talk about, but everybody thinks they're an expert.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
So it's a 24-hour news cycle now, right? So
Yeah.
like there's always new people popping up and talking shit, and then people just regurgitate it.
Yeah, and like when you think about it like this, everybody has their own reference expert that they go to, right? There's thousands of YouTube channels, there's thousands of Instagram channels, there's thousands, billions of channels, and there's constant ways to reaffirm your stupidity, however you want to find it. So you could even take something like, one sentence from someone said like jokingly, and turn it into your favor. He was acting like he was joking about it, but he really knows what's going on, right?
It's crazy.
Everybody slants their truths to accommodate their beliefs.
It's so crazy.
And now, because we have so much fucking information out there, you can't stop people.
Yeah. And it's like, and what the worst part is, like a year and a half ago, whatever, when Me Too happened, it really sparked this woke culture, right? Like
Me Too?
It sparked it. Me Too. I think Me Too was the beginning of the know-it-all in everything, right? Like Me Too started, like everyone started paying attention, and and of course women got their rights, their to-dos, right? And started taking down men. But then it started to kind of change. Like it started to be getting to the point where now it's like we're witch hunting people. First it was like outing
proactively,
like it was like first like we'll out the bad guys,
right?
But now it's like let's look for bad guys, and let's look for any little thing that we can start championing and start yelling about, right?
And that's dangerous because everyone has dirt, man. Everyone has dirt.
Every single one of you have dirt.
Yeah, everyone's done something stupid to somebody that they regret or been mean to somebody.
100%.
It's just human nature. These kind of things happen. But I mean, you know who Michelle Wolf is?
Yes.
She's on a comedy special. Bill Burr has a comedy special.
Yeah. No, she's great. She had that show, Russian Doll.
Yeah.
Really
And
good.
she's does a bit about the Me Too movement and kind of echoes almost exactly what you're saying, that we went too far too fast.
Too fast.
And now there's no coming back from it.
There isn't.
Because even stories like the Aziz Ansari story.
Oh, poor guy.
It was just a shitty date, right?
And he's done.
Yeah.
It's sad because that's a funny fucking guy.
His last special was done at like a small comedy club
Sad.
in front of like 80 people.
And he's such a passive guy. Like he
Big
doesn't
time.
deserve any of this. He couldn't fight himself back. He couldn't like argue back properly.
Did you read this story?
Well, yeah. Like he went on a date and then he's what, I forget what he said. He said something about her online or something, didn't he?
No. So he went on a date with this girl. There
It was like a blind date, wasn't it?
something like that.
Yeah.
And there was no force of any kind. Like he didn't force her to do anything. She didn't force him to do anything. But the whole sexual encounter that they had was just awkward and uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, it
Because
would be
he
with
just
him.
seems like an awkward and
He's
uncomfortable
awkward
guy.
guy, yeah.
So maybe he's just used to having girls that just do things for him, and he doesn't
Yeah.
have to really engage.
Yeah.
But this was a different situation, and she basically posted about it, saying that it was
That's
this
right. She
awkward,
posted it.
uncomfortable
Yeah.
encounter. And people were like, yeah, me too, Aziz. Like, what? What happened?
Yeah.
What are you mad
That's
at?
what it was. Yeah, she posted it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's sad, man. And it's really tragic. Like, it doesn't matter what color or race or whatever you are. Like, it's now gone because it did start off as older white men.
Yeah,
Like, it
for
did.
sure.
And now it's kind of, created this. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are. We're going to find something on you and we're going to cancel your ass.
Now, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because, unfortunately, there's a lot of pieces of shit out there
And you all know that.
that
There's lots of
reinforce
pieces.
these kind of outrageous behaviors. I'll just give you a small example, okay?
Yes.
My daughter's turning 15 in less than 2 weeks. And she's wearing shorts and a tank top and a hoodie over her tank top.
Yeah.
Her best friend and her are wearing the exact same outfit. She's walking home from school, car drives by, and they honk at them.
Oh, creep.
Thinking they're not even 15 years old
That's
yet.
creepy.
And they look like kids.
Yeah.
Like my daughter and her best friend look like kids.
Yeah, they look like kids. They look like 15-year-olds.
So if you're driving past them, you know that you're honking at kids.
Yeah. That's weird, dude.
Yeah, and that's just a small piece. That's done in public with everybody to see.
Yeah.
Like a lot of men don't feel like they have to hide that kind of shitty behavior.
Yeah.
So the witch hunt is fuck, man.
It's kind of needed, and at the same time, it needs to have a referee.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Right.
it's like, treat, no, wrong, right? Like, you need to have somebody that's a trusted, moral person that can say, no, that's right and that's wrong. Like, it's almost like you need to have, people need to be brought to, woke trial.
Moral court.
Right? With the woke jury, you know what I mean? And they're, dude, but I mean, like, look at my situation at KMS Tools that happened. Thanks, ladies. I got fucking lamb basted. Like I've never experienced that in my life.
So you go in, you buy something.
I buy some tool shit.
The
for
interaction
men.
was fine.
Interaction was fine.
Regular high buy.
And you know what? And it's no offense to her, but obviously offense to somebody. Right now I'm going to say this. But she had this giant cup of coffee. Now, you know those people that have the giant mug?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, and they
like a
don't
big
let
gulp.
go of it. They talk with it. And they're like walking around with it. The mug is an extension of
Coffee
their
big
hand.
gulp, yeah.
It's like their superhero. And it's just like, the mug. They smack you with the mug. Okay, so she had this mug of coffee and she's doing everything with one hand.
Yeah.
Like you're at work for one. Like put the fucking coffee down
And get to
and
fucking
use
work.
2 hands.
Yeah.
Because she had this mug in her hand and one hand, and then the other girl had to come and help her. So they had 3 hands.
Just fucking nonsense.
Right? So they had 3 hands
When they
instead
only
of
need
one.
2.
She could have just done it herself, put the coffee down, right? And then, the lady came over. Sorry, I said it again. Lady came over and, and I said, thanks, ladies. And she fucking killed me. She killed me on it.
So
dude.
what exactly, before you say that, shout out to Romeo and Juliet for the Cubans.
Oh, that's nice.
Cannot wait to light it up. So you say this.
Yeah.
What is her immediate reaction?
Eyes wide. Coffee shaking. Like head about to explode. She looks me dead in the eye and said, "That is inappropriate." Like I just did a Trump and walked up and grabbed her in the vagina. You know what I mean? Like she looked at me as if I was evil, like an evil man. And I'm like, dude, what did I do? You should never say that. Bah, 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 bah. It's like I'm supposed to know I'm woke. I'm like, bitch, I'm 47. Like, leave me alone. And I say bitch because that's what she was acting like. She was acting like a fucking ignorant person, right? And it's hard, man, because I'm trying to be polite. Okay, there's another example that just happened to me. I didn't even talk to you about this. So I'm at Walmart. And have you realized now at Walmart that they have noun or pronoun badges?
I don't go to Walmart.
Okay, don't fucking go to Walmart. If you don't have to go to Walmart, don't go.
Okay, so
Because they have pronoun badges
name tags
now.
that have their pronouns.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, there's an old man standing there, and I'm like, where's your fucking pronoun badge, man? He's like, what? Noun? Like, he literally was. It was funny. But they have pronoun badges, so you're allowed to do that. And
Interesting.
yeah, and so there was a person, I'd say person, who was wearing a they them.
Okay.
And so I was with my girl, and I was like,
Oh, your girl must hate this shit.
she totally doesn't. She's 50, so she doesn't totally
Must
understand.
fucking hate it.
She's even more so doesn't, but she's very sensitive. We're both sensitive to it. Like I get it, and I try. If I know that someone says, "Hey, dude, I'm they, I identify they and them." Okay, I'm gonna respect you, and I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna try and argue you.
Yeah, no.
There's no fucking point.
That's how you feel. That's fine.
That's your thing, and
Yeah.
I'm cool with it. I'm
Yeah.
fine with it, right? But it was weird because I practiced it with my girl. So my girl's like, "Oh, where's the so and so?" I said, "Why don't you go ask them?" And she's like, "Who?" And I'm like, "Them over there." She's like, "Who? Who are you talking about?" Right? She's looking for a group of people, right? And I'm like, "No." Oh, sorry. They would
They,
know.
them.
Who?
Yeah.
She's like, "Who's they?" And I'm like, "See how fucking crazy it is? You don't even know what I'm talking about. I can't even communicate with my own wife right now, right?" And it's one of those things like, okay, so obviously this is a reality of life that we live in. And I'm not, like I said, we don't have any hate or judgment on anybody.
Yeah.
We can joke about this shit because
Yeah.
we're fucking comedians, right? And it's just very difficult to navigate. And it's becoming more and more difficult to navigate on this planet as a person that was born in the 1900s.
So, okay.
I was born in the 1900s, and this is part of my disease.
Late 1900s.
Yeah.
I've had this conversation with a few very intelligent females, and what they've explained to me, first of all, they don't agree with that woman's behavior.
Yeah.
To start with, they say that she's acting like a bitch. She's never done that.
Never done that.
Because you can assume that we should just know
Yeah.
We're coming from a completely different landscape and different
Totally.
approach.
Yeah, aliens.
Our idea of saying thank you, ladies, is being polite,
Yeah.
kind.
Yeah.
Not thank you, ladies, because I know you're not a lady, so I'm going to
No.
humiliate you right now.
Yeah. I had no idea.
The point of reference should be, oh, just so you know, I'm not a lady. We're good.
How hard would that be to take? I'd be like, oh, what do I call you then?
Simple. Just let me know. What
Yeah.
are you then? It's simple,
Yeah.
but you can't assume.
It's brutal.
The frame of reference is totally different.
Yeah.
But what these women made a point to tell me is that women spent most of their teen to adult lives being called baby, sweetheart,
Yeah.
honey, darling,
True.
love.
Yeah.
All of these fucking...
I would love to be called any of that shit, by
and
the way.
I want to get to that as well. All these gross fucking pet names,
Yeah.
right? And when if you're a 16-year-old girl
Mm-hmm.
and there's some, in their eyes, gross 40-year-old
Yeah.
man,
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah.
right? Because a 40-year-old would be
sweetheart.
gross to a 16-year-old, and we say, hey, cutie.
Hey, cutie.
That's fucking gross.
It's pretty gross.
So they basically said that the term ladies, for
Mm-hmm.
some women, because of how they've had to deal with it, is actually offensive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Took me a minute to take that in too.
That's just a little harsh for me, man. I don't know if I can handle it.
Yeah, and it's interesting how you say that because there are many instances now that I'm in my 40s that women are very comfortable saying honey, sweetheart,
Yeah.
love
Yeah,
to
yeah.
me all the time.
All the time. I get honey. I get love from
All
strangers.
the time. All the time. And grown women
Grown women.
have no problem. They're
Strangers.
straight okay with it.
Yeah.
And
Dear.
yeah, dear for sure. And I don't get offended.
No, because we're 40s. We're in our 40s.
It's kind of cute.
It's whatever. We've been through the worst of the times.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of a cute interaction because it feels to me like they're not threatened; they're comfortable.
Yeah.
That's like something they can say and not feel uncomfortable saying it.
Yeah.
So I take it like that, but I kind of get where women are coming from, man. I kinda
So
get it.
what it is we, you and me, us, our generation grew up in the defensive period of life. We are now in the offensive part of the life. So what I mean by defensive is that we had to take shit and learn how to bounce off of it and learn how to roll with it and learn how to just be ourselves amidst it. Now it's like, no, boom, people are casting strikes on everybody. It isn't just you taking strikes. Now, if you're not casting strikes, you're left out. You're the one that's taking the strikes, right? So this is a pure offensive generation.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the go, attack generation, right? That's what it is, man. Technology made that way.
So what I try to do, and I think what men and women should both do, is be armed
Yes.
to not actually armed with guns.
No, don't.
But armed to protect yourself emotionally and socially because people have no problem trying to get away with shit these days in
Totally.
person and being little shitheads and making slights and remarks because social media has made it very easy for them to pop off.
Yeah.
People say shit on social media that they would never dare say to someone's face.
Never.
It wouldn't even be a consideration in their brain to formulate sentences like fuck you, you dumb bitch, I'll fucking kill.
Oh,
Those
yeah?
kind of things would never come out of someone's
Oh
mouth.
yeah, dude. I've had so many people send me messages like anonymous no picture Instagram accounts
Yeah.
saying shit to me. I'm like, wow. And I swear people I know, you know what I mean? Like people I know, they just want to say.
They're just creating shit
won't say
accounts.
shit.
Yeah, and I've had an interesting time with this because I'm on social media a lot. I'm very active on social media and I post a lot and I comment a lot. And I've actually had some pretty good interactions with people after they've been dicks.
Yeah.
And trying to like get them to consider a different point of view.
Yeah.
But
I always try to get them to meet with me. Let's meet and talk in person. Never happens. It's sad. One day it shall, though.
you think so?
One day it will happen. Buddy will be like, okay.
You think a
okay,
troll is
let's
gonna
meet."
have the balls to step up and actually?
No, fucking jack them.
You know that dude? I think it's Zelnikov or Zelenov. The white guy. He's like he goes to like boxing gyms and like attacks people.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? Did you ever see when Deontay Wilder knocked him out?
Yes, I did.
That was fucking amazing. Dude, that was one of the greatest feelings I've ever felt, seeing that guy get his fucking face rocked. Because so were you part of like a boxing gym or did you have a coach specific to you?
Yes, I was part of a boxing gym.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So you got to train with a lot of different athletes.
I trained for 5 to 6 hours a day for about 3 years of my life.
Damn.
And I thought I was going to be a professional fighter. I am not a professional fighter. I had some pro bouts. I've never lost, but I don't really consider myself a fighter. I consider a boxer. I consider myself a fighter. Because the only difference between me, I believe, in a boxer and why I think a lot of guys never fought me, really, is because I would go the full distance. That I would kill somebody if I fought them. If I had to, I would do it. And so I knew that about myself, and I always have known that. And that's what made me a good boxer, because I had zero fear. No, I don't want any. Because I had no fear, right? But
So you like fighting.
I do, yeah.
It's that part of you actually enjoys it.
It's a dance. It's a mind game, fighting. It's like anything. It's why I'm a good entertainer.
What about the training part?
Training part's hard to mentally get into it for about the first 3 weeks. 3 weeks to a month is a very hard thing to get your head wrapped around.
That's a lot.
It takes a lot of discipline, but once you're about 3 weeks, 4 weeks in, then there's really no turning back. Like if someone said, "Man, you got to fight in November," I would train for it. I would train for it. I'd be like, okay, muscle memory comes right back.
Damn.
Because the thing is, dude, the thing that prevents you from being a bad fighter is your fear.
Right.
And if you don't fear, if you don't care, that's why Mike Tyson was so great. 'Cause he didn't fear anything. You know, he didn't fear anyone, and so he just went in there and said, "I'm just going to swing, and if I get knocked out, or you get knocked out." Right. That's why he even got to the point where he was drinking before he fought. It wasn't fun for him.
Yeah, that fight style only works if you're disciplined in your training.
If you're disciplined, yeah.
And he was very disciplined in the first half
bit.
of his career.
Yeah, till fame bug hit him.
Yeah, when you started getting, they would report paychecks of like $42 million paycheck for a fight and shit like that. That money's not even real money at that point. Like, who's gonna pay him that money?
Yeah.
Where's it coming from? That's So when you get that kind of money, I'll never forget. Like, growing up, my pops and his friends drank grog. It's like a native Fijian drink.
Oh yeah.
Kava, most people know it by.
Yeah.
And they would meet in the back room of one of their friends' butcher shops. So one of their friends owned a butcher shop, and in the back of the butcher shop, they turned it into like a little man cave.
Oh yeah.
And they would set up the grog and drink till like 4 or 5 in the morning every weekend. And they had the black box. I don't know if you remember the black box.
No.
So at one period in time,
everybody.
Oh,
Is that
right.
black box?
I think that might be.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
you would have to get this box back in the day if you couldn't afford pay-per-views.
Oh, the black box.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it would give you everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it would get scrambled every now and then.
Yeah,
and you have to
I
get someone to
remember.
de-scramble it, right?
I do
So
remember.
they would have this for fights.
Okay. Yeah.
And every time there was a Tyson fight, me and my older brother would go with my dad.
Yeah.
And the room would be filled with smoke. And there's like pictures of naked women on the wall everywhere. And it's all just dirty old Fijian men.
Yeah.
And we'd watch the fights. And I'll never forget that Buster Douglas fight because he came in out of shape.
He did. And
he was loose.
I know someone that was there that night.
Oh, shit.
Boxing coach, a guy I knew from back in the day, and he was there at the fight. He had traveled over there as on the undercard with another fighter, and they had done their fight, and it was one of the first fights of the night. And as his guy was getting ready, he went to the bar and the hotel or whatever there, and Mike Tyson was sitting at the end of the bar drinking before his fight. He was all alone. There was one guy keeping everybody away from him. The one guy there, right? And then he told me he was sitting there and they're like, holy fuck, that's Tyson. Like, what the fuck is he doing? He's sitting there doing shots and drinking. And fucking the team came and rushed in and grabbed him and fucking ushered him out. He was drunk.
Maniac.
He fought Buster Douglas drunk.
And almost beat him. Like, when you really think about it, that first knockdown, if you ever go back and watch it, was a 10 count.
Yeah.
It really was a 10 count. They just missed it by
Yeah.
But hey, man, Buster still won at the end of the day.
It's
And
amazing.
It was devastating.
That was probably one of the most unbelievable things I'd seen in sports at that time.
Yeah, and honestly, I stopped watching boxing for like 3 years after that.
Yeah,
I was
after Tyson lost his
devastated.
shine.
I was devastated
Yeah.
because the Muhammad Ali connection, right? Ali converted Tyson.
Yeah.
All these little details, and Ali was like God in my household growing up.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
like infallible, right? And because he's the guy that converted Tyson, for us, Tyson was like the next heir apparent.
Yeah, he
Even
was.
though he was wild and crazy and talked to like, Ali talked shit beautifully.
Yeah.
Tyson was a caveman.
Yeah, he
totally
was.
different.
Oh,
No,
vicious from the
not
streets.
refined. Yeah, just like, you know. And dude, seeing him lose was horrible.
It was a tough one, man.
Horrible.
Yeah, it was really tough.
I don't think I got excited about boxing again until
Prince Nassim, man.
no, Roy Jones Jr.
Oh, Roy Jones.
Bernard Hopkins.
Yeah, Roy was great.
Yeah, when they started boxing, I'm like, oof.
Yeah.
Roy's a bad motherfucker, man.
I think personally, after like being now to all the fighters I've seen, I think the greatest fighter is Tyson Fury.
Really, eh?
I think that Tyson Fury would have beaten anybody
Like
in history
overall, all
at the
time.
prime. Yeah. I think his body, his style, his power, just everything, his heart, everything about him.
The heart is big.
I think he would have beat Fraser. I think he would have beat Ali. I think he would have beat all those guys. I just from a pure fighter standpoint, right? I
Yeah.
think he is
Yeah, he would
unstoppable.
have smashed Foreman.
All those guys. He had such length, man, and his swagger in the ring and just his power and like his way to he's able to control fighters, right? Like he's so hard to hit.
So Deontay almost, I mean, he dropped him multiple times.
Oh yeah, and he beat him.
Yeah, the 10 count.
I think they beat him.
No,
he didn't
no.
lose to Dante, did he?
No,
No.
he beat Deontay every time. I think prime Ali,
It would have been a great fight.
pre-jail Ali,
Yeah, pre-jail.
lightning speed.
Amazing.
That would have been something to watch.
Amazing.
Because what, Fury's 6'9"?
Okay, but let's go back to this.
Okay.
So you take a fighter in his prime, like you take any fighter of his prime, and you work with the skills that he has, okay? And you put him up against any fighter in their time, and there's like, for example, look at the NBA. You know how there's this argument about the Golden State Warriors versus Michael Jordan's Bulls? And they always talk about who would win in that. And people are like, oh, fucking Jordan, Pippen, the Bulls, they would kill them, right? And I'm like, that's the stupidest argument because what we don't factor in is that the Golden State Warrior players have watched all the greats and they've taken those styles and they've added shit to it.
So much.
Like, think about back in Jordan days, there was no crossover.
Not like today.
Allen Iverson, Grant Hill, those were the first crossover guys.
I mean, Tim Hardaway was like the first wow crossover.
Yeah.
But yeah, AI, Grant Hill, completely different place.
Right? Like
Yeah.
those are the guys that brought it to the league.
Made it a real weapon.
Now it's
Yeah.
just you must have that skill.
Everybody. Now, okay, what rules are we playing with? Are we playing with today's rules?
I'm
No
talking
hand check?
skill.
Okay, but if you're taking the Bulls, that 73 and or
The
9
top
team
73-9 and
against the Warriors' best record,
72-10,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
it was.
So yeah, whatever it is. So whose rules are you playing by? You playing by hand check rules or no hand check rules? Because if you play hand check rules, Steph can't do what Steph does because you can have a hand on the guy
Yeah,
all
but no
the
one
time.
hit threes back then.
That's the difference. The 3-point shooting is the
Right?
difference.
No one hit threes. Jordan didn't hit threes.
Yeah, no.
There was no three. There was Kukoc,
Yeah.
right? Or Steve Kerr.
John Paxson.
And they were post up threes. They weren't like roll to the line and shoot a
they
three.
were wide open.
like
Wide open, MJ triple team, kick it out. No one's around you. You better
a
fucking
three.
score that shit.
Right.
Okay.
Paxson.
MJ said that he didn't feel it was a good part of the game.
what,
The
3-pointers?
3-pointers.
Well, it's because it threatens all of his records.
And he said, for himself, he said the reason he didn't take more threes. He said because it's not a good part of it's not a good part of the game for efficiency. It doesn't equate to the same because he was like over 50% from the field.
Yeah.
But like 30% from three.
Yeah.
In his mind, that's not logical to go back to the 30% when I'm doing this inside, right?
Because they didn't practice threes.
Exactly.
Right? They didn't practice half court shots
Yeah.
and full court shots.
Yeah.
Like these kids, all they do is practice that shit.
Did Jordan Poole hit one last game? Like it was
you
nothing.
see that?
Like nothing.
And he carried the ball.
Yeah.
What do you think about this carrying? And
Okay, I'm seeing him more now. It's a little frustrating.
Isn't that gross?
It's a little frustrating. Yeah.
Like, dude, the worst part is like just call it or don't call it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, take it out of the because sometimes they call it, sometimes they don't. They call Russell Westbrook on it a lot.
yeah, he does this.
He does this, right?
Yeah.
But just call it or don't call it. It's
Or change the
they
rule.
all do it.
Or change the rule.
Just
Because
like they all travel.
because Giannis, his whole offensive game, he dribbles with his hand like this.
Yes.
like this.
Yeah.
And he's really quick.
Yeah.
He's really athletic. When he takes one dribble, he can run 3 steps
Yeah.
in one dribble. That's not a normal stride.
No.
Right? So he can clear the court really quickly. And if you give him that on top of it,
Yeah.
then you make it like impossible
Yeah.
to play against him. And I mean, it makes the game fun to watch because you're like, wow, look at the athleticism. Cleared the court in 8 strides. But as a basketball fan, as like the fucking purest part of me is like, that's not good. That's not good.
Sucks. But so it brings us back to the boxing. So
Yeah.
you take the greatest fighters of all time and you look at what they have been able to absorb in their lifetime, the training regimens, the technology,
Yeah,
the tools,
that's a big one.
right? Like, and now you put them all together, you would have to have that. And, you know, I think, you know, Tyson Fury, you know, I think the best matchup would have been Muhammad Ali for him. If you put those two guys in their prime.
Yeah.
I don't even think that Fury in his prime was the best. I think he's the best kind of now in his later. He's actually better for some reason.
Way better now.
Like the whole drug and alcohol thing he went through, like smoking crack and all that, like
Changed him.
changed him, right?
Sure.
Gave him a little bit of heart, and he saw value in his life, and he was able to actually step up and become a champion, right? But I don't know, man. That's
and he's a real gypsy, eh?
he's a real gypsy.
Like Gypsy King is not just a nickname.
No, he is.
This guy lives like a gypsy.
Yeah.
That's kind of insane.
Like in his car or something.
Well, he donates like half of his checks when he gets paid, right?
Wow.
Like he's just crazy. He just doesn't
care.
care.
Doesn't care.
He just knows he's the greatest. He has enough to live his life the way he wants, and he just lives like that.
Great life, man.
Yeah.
It's a great way to be.
Now, when you were boxing,
Yeah.
no anxiety.
No anxiety ever.
What do you think it was?
Going to jail for 10 years.
But what do you think prevented you from having any
that
kind?
didn't exist. That didn't exist in our world back then in the 90s. There was no anxiety in the 90s. We didn't even talk about that. Hey?
Yeah, no,
We
never.
didn't talk about all this anxiety.
Even
and
nervous. You wouldn't even say you're nervous.
and what's the other shit people have? Body dysmorphia. We didn't talk about body dysmorphia in the 90s. There was none of that shit back then.
No, there wasn't.
It was like, man up or have some ovaries, you know? Go be a woman. Like, it's true. Man.
Yeah, man up is terrible, man.
Man up was the worst thing you heard back
Yeah,
then.
it did a horrible thing to men.
Totally. Because
Yeah,
you
it
think
fucked us up.
And you think about, like, now you look at how many men come out as homosexual. And so the numbers are huge.
Yep.
The numbers are high.
Yep.
So you go back 25 years, there's a lot of people were hiding.
Repressed.
Remember when Oprah had that episode where the Down Low brothers came out? The
No.
Down Low. Oh, you don't remember that? So Oprah had an episode was talking about men that were on the down low. And all these guys came out on Oprah. Well, you're not on the down low anymore. But they were like, yeah, it's a very common thing amongst black men,
Facts.
right? That a lot of black men statistically are more gay than white men. It's still to this day.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it still is a thing, yeah. Yeah, it's statistically higher in the black community than it is in the white, right? And so, but Oprah discovered this back in the day and kind of exposed it. And but it wasn't you had to repress everything back then. And if you had anxiety or any kind of depression or everything, it's like, hey, smarten up, like they were like, hey, fucking wise up, man,
Yeah.
like man up, and all these things, right, that people had to deal with. And now,
What were
It's
what were the nationalities of like some of the families that you grew up with?
mainly brown, mainly Indian. So I didn't really grow up with any Asian people. We had one Asian family on the street. I had a friend, and it smelled like mothballs in their house. It's all I remember is I fucking just always smell like mothballs in the house.
Yeah.
And there was that one, and then that was it, man. But mainly I grew up around brown families. Every Christmas, every holiday.
So culturally, that's what you were exposed to.
that was what I was exposed
And
to.
those families are just as repressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very
But
they're very
we didn't
hard.
see it back then.
Yeah,
like,
I mean-
and it was normal. That's the other thing. Like, people don't realize, like, abuse in the home was normal.
Totally.
It was normal. Like, oh, it's so hard. Oh,
Yeah.
no, it was pretty fucking normal.
Yeah.
Like, I saw this report on TV. They're talking about group homes, kids getting hurt in group home. Oh, there were 69 incidents in this group home. I'm like, that's it. I had that in like a couple of years of my life. 69 incidences,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
of being restrained and shit. That was normal for us, and that's what I mean. We were always on the defensive. we had to learn how to be defensive.
And it started at home. Like if you talk to
Started at
any
home.
80s baby, I mean, this is crazy. If you
Yeah.
talk to any 80s baby about were you hit growing up, everyone says
Everybody
yes.
was hit.
Everybody says yes.
Everyone.
And this new generation, it's a foreign concept. They're like, how
Call
dare
the
you?
cops. Call the cops on your mom and dad, sue them.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
in school, we had a person that tried to divorce their parents, emancipation or whatever. I never even heard of that. I'm like, what? You can divorce your parents? It's like, that was a huge thing, dude. Like,
First time I heard that was Macaulay Culkin.
yeah, Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, first time I ever heard that existed.
Yeah. Yeah, that happened.
Emancipation.
Yeah, it was crazy. It
Yeah.
was like,
Just the thought of it is crazy.
yeah, dude. I remember hearing that in the 90s. I was older at that time, but I was like, wow, man. Like, I never even thought about that.
Yeah, and I think it's important for this generation. I mean, like, kids shouldn't be scared of their parents, but kids should have a healthy fear of repercussion.
Totally.
And you can't really provide repercussions these days that are physically harmful to them because we know that shit doesn't work and it fucks people up.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you don't overcome your trauma as you become an adult, getting beat as a kid will fuck you up in the future.
Oh, yeah. Well,
So you would never want, I would never want my kids to experience that. So as a parent, you have to remind them that they exist because of you.
yeah.
Like their entire existence is based on you allowing them to have a home,
Yeah.
have food, have clothes.
Yeah.
If I'm not here, you're fucking homeless. You want to be homeless? Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Right? You have to make sure that that line is drawn that if we're going to have a family, you have to contribute in these ways for us to be a family.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, get the fuck out. Find another
Dude,
family.
I'm so traumatized from childhood. Like, I live with the
Damn.
trauma every day. And to
Damn,
this day,
man.
like, that's why I spend so much time alone and why I don't socialize and I get anxiety.
Like your
attacks.
whole upbringing collectively
Yeah,
or
well, I was-
incidences that fucked you up?
Well, like, I was taken out of my home at like 9, 10 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
By social services, whatever. And like, I was accused of rape when I was a kid, right?
Damn.
Did I ever tell you that?
No.
Fuck yeah, dude. It's fucking sad. Like, I had a family. So my mom's black, my dad's Irish. And their family really hated my mom. They were secretly racist. Well, obviously back then Irish were like fucking, they hate everybody, right? But they hated my mom especially because it was black. Like, they did shit like my dad's aunt died and she left this ring that was worth like 50 grand or something, right? And left it with my dad, said, hey, whatever happens, the will, whatever, right? And one day the ring's gone and the whole family blamed my mom. But it was my dad's side of the family that took it and then blamed my mom, the black fucking chick, right, for stealing it, right? And it was like, it was that sinister. So one day, and this incident, dude, it ruined my family and my family cannot be together because of it. And it's sad. I don't have a relationship with any of them because of this, dude.
It's fucked up.
And I went and visited my cousin and my aunt one day. My parents went out of town, and I went to go babysit. I was babysit by my aunt, and then my parents came back. We went home, and everything was fine. I remember I was sitting in my mom and dad's bedroom watching the A-Team, right? And it was a fucking great shows Friday night. And my uncle or my aunt's boyfriend at the time said, "Hey, come with me. We're gonna go for a drive." I'm like, sure. So we go out there and we're driving in the car and he's like, tell me what you did. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm 10 years old, mind you. So think of yourself as a kid at 10 years old. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So he takes me to the police station and they put me in a jail cell. Damn. And I'm sitting in the cell. I'm fucking crying. I don't know what's going on. Like, where's my mom? I'm crying for my mom and all this. And the cop came in and said, you're being accused of raping your toddler cousin. That somebody stuck something up the kid's butt, and they have evidence, they have proof, and the only person there was was me. And I'm like, dude, I've never been sexually assaulted in my life. My parents have never done anything like that before. And I was like, I have no idea. So after that, I was taken out of my home. I went to a mental health facility for 16 months from age 10 to fucking about 11 and a half. And then I went into foster care, right? And it came out years later, like probably about maybe 10, 15 years later on my dad's father's deathbed, that it was all set up to fucking get rid of us in the family.
So you were like institutionalized.
Yeah, I was institutionalized.
Before you were even a teenager.
Yeah, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, I didn't commit a crime, but all that started leading to me doing crime.
Because you were criminalized.
I was criminalized, dude. At 10 years
Holy
old.
fuck.
So now at 47, I look back, I'm able to talk about it, and I'm able to think about, wow, the process. What has my brain been through? Like, I always like, what's wrong? You know, why am I this way?
Yeah.
And I got to always go back and remember that, you know, this was created. And unfortunately, people, you don't get over that shit without intensive therapy, obviously. And you don't, you know...
So your mom didn't have or doesn't have any of her extended family here?
No, nothing.
No brothers, sisters? So she doesn't have any family ties?
None.
That's fucking scary, man.
Yeah, she was a dog. She was tied to a tree as a kid. She was a black kid,
that's terrifying, dude. To be the only black woman in a white family.
Oh, that was horrible.
Holy fuck.
Right? So when you think about shit like that, like, this is where my anxiety comes from. And my anxiety comes from, one, you know, not having connection with my family. I got a brother and sister I'm not connected with. I got like mom and dad that I harbor grudge against.
Right.
Because I just can't get to the forgiveness part.
They failed to protect you.
They
right?
failed, man.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, meh. And that's why I'm kind of standoffish and whatever with people, because I can't create relationships. And
because it doesn't mean
fucking
anything
hard
to
for
you.
I don't really know the definition of like relationship, right? And love. And
Healthy.
you know, it took me 20 years to love my girl. You know what I mean? Like, but it doesn't mean I'm a bad person. I'm not out there killing animals and fucking,
Dude.
you know, doing shit, right? I like people and I love people in a way that I know, you know what
The
I mean?
feelings you create in people, I don't think you get. Like, so we had a birthday party this past weekend.
Oh, fuck. It was crazy.
Chad's 50th birthday party.
Yeah, happy birthday,
Shout out to the homie Chad. Happy
Yeah,
birthday.
such a good guy, man.
Shout out to Ashia and the kids.
Yeah, Asha, yeah, great.
She threw a great party
Yeah, she's
for her
amazing.
husband, and Mike was the DJ.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Now I gotta tell you something before you get to the part that we're gonna talk about. But
Stop.
so that morning, me and the kids and Rosie went for breakfast, and what's the place called again? Pure and Simple. And Ty's best friend came with us. So we're all sitting having breakfast.
Brandon or
Fucking
whatever?
Braden.
Braden,
Yeah, giant kid.
Yeah.
Great fucking food. Pure and Simple is dope, by the way, for anybody watching. We're eating this great meal. We're leaving, and the party comes up. And Braden's like, oh, you know, I'm going to go pick up my girlfriend after work and stuff. And Rosie's like, well, why don't you just come to the party? And then Ty's like, Mike's going to DJ. And then Braden's like, Mike? Have you met him before?
Yeah, I met him at the High Phrase.
Oh, right,
Yeah, he
right.
was there for
It's
High
like,
Phrase
Mike's
Live.
gonna DJ?
Yeah.
And Ty's like, yeah. He's like, come. He's like, I gotta be there.
That's hilarious.
Like, he was excited, like genuinely
He's a good kid.
excited.
I can tell he's a good kid.
So we go and he goes and gets his girlfriend. They tell the girlfriend, and she's excited.
Oh, that's crazy.
So all these kids are just excited to be around you and
Anxiety.
see you. And you are going through this traumatic experience.
Unbelievably traumatic. It started. I'm moving in my shit. I'm setting up all my stuff. Then all of a sudden, something hit me while I was just kind of like getting set up. I started having real panic. I started sweating a little bit, and I was like, "Okay, that's okay. It'll pass," because usually it does. I
So
mean,
that's the trigger? That's how you know something's coming on?
okay. So the trigger, because of my life and the things I've experienced in life, is unfortunately, if I don't have control, then I lose control. So I know this about myself because I'm not fucking stupid. I live with myself. I don't need to question myself. I know my problems. When I don't have control of a situation, then I lose control of myself. And that is an abandonment issue.
It's coping, yeah.
Coping mechanism, right? I need to, when I do an event, give me the keys, let me be in control. Everything will go great. You have to trust me. And I say this to every single client. Just trust me, man.
And leave me alone.
Leave me alone. Let me do what I do. And I guarantee you everybody will have fun. It's funny because that night at the party, I didn't bring my most important tool. I left it at home that night.
Which is?
My DJ booth. My DJ booth, yes, it looks good, and yes, it's everything, right? But her decor was black. My DJ booth is white, so I don't bring it. When I didn't bring it, I knew that I was going to go through this because my DJ booth is my protection from the
So
from
it's
the
just
crowd.
safe space.
It's my safe space.
Because it is actually like a whole barrier
It's a
around
barrier.
you.
It's a mental thing,
Interesting.
and I knew that, dude. I knew it.
Wow.
And so as I'm sitting there, I'm exposed to the room, and I fucking started panicking. I was panicking, man. I couldn't think properly.
So for people that are listening, I know a lot of people that experience this as well. What are you actually experiencing as far as the sensation goes while you're in it?
I just want to run. I want to get out of there. My heart's beating. It won't stop. I don't know what I'm saying. I usually will say things that I don't know what I'm saying. I'll blabber on. You could tell if you were there that night, you would see there's stuff everywhere, papers, equipment, everything. That back room was a disaster. There was a little closet behind me. It was a disaster. Things everywhere because my brain is scrambled. So now
Wow.
I'm putting everything everywhere. I went to do that trick tie, right? And it messed up, right? So this is what happened. So the trick messed up, right? Because I wasn't in control of it. I wasn't in control at that point of myself or of anything. So I couldn't be in control of a magic trick. My batteries kept dying. You notice that on my mic?
Yes.
Batteries kept dying. I went to go play a game, set up the TV, didn't work, right? That isn't just like, oh, random. No, that's because I'm not in control. And
So
if
it
I
just
was in
takes
control,
over
I would have
everything.
takes over everything. Couldn't get the sound for the video at first, right? Like when they did the slideshow. You see all those little things. Like when you think back of them, they're like, yeah, there was a lot of weird things. That dropped a song, playing "Living on a Prayer." Whoa, and it was about to go, and then I dropped the song. I don't know what happened. Out of control, man. Couldn't
Interesting.
pick a song to save my life.
And you're in a room full of people.
Yeah, and who want to dance, and I clear the dance floor, and then
Only once.
once
Only- don't be hard on
than
yourself.
that.
Only
more
once.
than that. But that's what happens when I'm not in control.
Yeah.
And it's fucked because I got to be in control from the very beginning, or else systematic breakdown.
Has to be your room, your space. Okay, so what about High Phrase Live night?
Easy.
I guess because it was up completely under our control.
No, yeah, it was on our control, and
Front
it
to
was
back.
more. It was more you were leading that night, and it was good. It's good for us. We work well together. We have personalities that mix and match.
Yeah.
You know. So my partner Kel. It's funny. My partner Kel, the magician, right? We do magic. So we're doing this wedding
Shout
like
out Kel.
couple weeks ago. And I'm doing a routine with the crowd. It's a game, and everyone's laughing, having great time, party, right? And I'm like 2 things away from the finale, from the ending, and he interrupts me. He's like, "Hey, Mike, okay, that's it. We're gonna move on." And I look at him like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna move on. Okay, let's get ready to." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, professional." I just walk it off. I walk back to my DJ booth, and I'm like. But inside, I am fucking dying.
On fire.
I am raging for one, but then also I am falling apart.
Interesting.
I'm all of a sudden falling apart because it's ripped from me because I just got interrupted, right? Weird. Dude, imagine you're rapping and you're at your second verse. You're going to go to the third verse.
Yeah.
And then someone's like, okay, that was awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Elite, everybody. And you're like,
I would want to fight.
yeah.
So Cal got lucky.
Yeah, but Kel knows this, and he's still suffering from it because he didn't realize what he had done. But
So you've communicated this to him.
oh yeah, I fucking told him. But what happened was we were dealing with a groom who was power control issues, so he wanted things to happen as certain. Didn't care about what the guests. Everybody was laughing. I had the entire room laughing and sharing a moment at that time. But this groom pressured Kel. Not me, pressure Kel to interrupt me, and then no, let's move on. Right?
Wow.
Dude.
That ego.
But that's the thing. Like, it's fucked up. As entertainers, we have egos, and we find what makes it work for us, right? We find what makes us great at doing it. What I know for myself is, if I'm not in control, I'm out of control.
So you've seen hundreds of couples.
Yeah,
Hundreds of couples.
well, probably 1,000.
Do you ever see couples and you think to yourself, that's what love is?
No, that's
Wow.
Do I see couples that are really in love or something?
Yeah, like couples that are like just like you just look at them like that's something.
You know what? Maybe I have. I'm not really registering anybody now, but most of the time, I just think, these weddings and stuff are done for not for right reasons. A lot of the times,
Vanity,
I think it's family and stuff that it gets done for.
family, and vanity.
Vanity, like you think if you really just if you're gonna be married, just go have a party and go get married and don't spend all this money. That's the real deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta say, man, we were married. I was 20, turning 21, and we had this massive 500 people wedding.
Yeah.
And I maybe knew 60 people in the room.
Yeah.
And between my parents and Rosie's parents, they paid for the whole thing. We were just expected to show up and do our thing. We got creative control, so we did a lot of like fun things for ourselves in the wedding. But we could care less.
Yeah.
When you think about the bigger picture, we knew it had to happen.
Yeah.
So it happened.
Yeah.
But outside of that, we couldn't really care less.
Yeah.
And it's a wild conversation because, Cedric the Entertainer, he has a TV show called The Neighbors.
Yeah. Neighbors.
And on this recent episode, the younger goofy kid, the scientist, gets married. And this big elaborate wedding and stuff like that. Me and my daughter are watching it. And I just randomly ask her, I'm like, you want a wedding like that? She's like, no. I'm like, you don't ever see yourself being that bride that walks into this massive wedding and all these different, different things that you see all the time. It's like, no, I don't care.
Flowers.
It's like, I don't want to get married. I'm like, wow.
I don't want to get married either. Don't worry, I don't want to get married.
Wow, this generation is very different.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Well, it's this. I'm telling you, I look at weddings and I'm like, this is not you. I will sit with a couple. I'm listening to them talk. I'm watching them. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? You guys could do this a little bit different. I try to talk them down off the ledge on a bunch of things, flowers, expensive shit, right? Because
very expensive shit.
I'm like, you don't need it.
And rental companies make fucking millions taking from people that don't know any better.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm that guy. I got decor and I got stuff, right? I don't push it on people. I'm like, I think sensibly. Like, if someone's like, oh, I really want this, and I look at their thing, I'm like, you don't need it. Like, you don't. Like, I talk people out of giving me money because
you
I'm like,
literally do.
I do.
Yeah. So literally, this man does a party, and because he doesn't think he did a good job, he turned down the payment owed to him.
Yes.
Let me say that again. He was owed money.
It's true, man.
Owed not a little bit of money. A good amount of money. He was owed this money as agreed upon for a service provided. You provided the service.
I did.
Everyone had a great time.
Yeah.
I'm still hearing about it on my phone.
Yeah.
Saying how great of a party it was. And he turned down money.
I did.
Because he didn't think he did good.
It's true.
That's very unique.
Okay, so this is a lesson to you kids, man.
It really is.
And it's fucking weird. I know. Even my wife was like, "What's wrong with you? Like, you shouldn't be in business." And I'm like, "Well, okay. I'm not in business. All right." She's what she said. She said you should not be in business. You should go get a job. I'm like, look, if you're going to do something in your life and you want to be great at it, you can't make excuses. You can't make excuses.
That's fair.
For yourself, right? No matter how much it hurts to admit that you suck, you have to admit you suck at times that you do. And you have to put it out there and you have to let people know that.
That's fair.
Because if it's humiliating. She was so nice. She called me and she's like, "Oh, I can't believe this." Like, she was really nice on the text to me and suggested therapists for me and everything.
Because she's one.
Because she's a counselor.
Yeah.
And I could tell she was a counselor. Like, super nice, man. And I'm like, look.
And they have money.
Yeah.
Like, they do very well for themselves.
Yeah.
It wasn't means a matter of nothing money to them.
And honestly, it wasn't a matter of money. For me, it was a matter of principle. It was a matter of like, how great do you truly want to be in life? Like, do you want to be great where you are telling yourself you're great? Or do you want to be great that you actually feel that you're great? And the thing is, like, you can get complacent very easy in entertainment and everything. It's like a rapper who doesn't release new shit and just travels and sings his old songs. He'll get depressed in no time because he knows deep down inside of him, I'm rapping that same song.
Low
again.
fraudulent, yeah.
Right? And there's so many rappers, like even musicians are perfect for this. I don't want to play my old tunes. I want to play my new stuff. I went and saw Ice Cube a year or whatever ago. All he played was, I was going to say, was A Good Day. He didn't play any like put you back into it, like any that. He didn't sing of it. He sang his new stuff and a sprinkle of his old things, right?
Yeah.
And it's an artist thing. You want to continue to try to be great,
Of course.
right? And
course.
so with me, dude, you know, it's not the first time this has happened. It's not the first time I've given money back.
Yeah.
And like shocked people. And like, I gave someone money back once and they wrote a bad review on me. I'm like, no, that wasn't a thing to give me a bad review.
It wasn't insulting. It was just,
well, because they repeated what I said to them. Like I just felt like I didn't do that, so they used that. It's somewhere in the ether. You can go look at it somewhere.
Corny ass
It's been drowned out by amazing fucking reviews. But you know, the thing is, dude, if you're going to step out and you're going to try and be great at something, you have to have a level of discipline for yourself. You have to remind yourself once in a while that you're flawed and you're not perfect.
Facts.
And that you are fallible and that you do suck at times. But, you know, if you go in and saying, well, I suck, but who cares or whatever, you don't learn anything from that.
Yeah, facts. You can't be bitter about it.
Like, oh, I'll just take the money and whatever, go to the next gig. No, dude, like, no, stop. Realize what just happened. Punish yourself. We don't do enough self-punishment.
Right.
Self-inflicted
Correction.
punishment, man. We don't. Right? We're too soft on ourselves.
You call it punishment. I call it correction.
Yeah, we're too soft. This whole generation, this whole time we're living in is about, well, take it easy. You know?
Right.
Just be easy. It's okay. You know, it's like, no, it's not okay. I'm a fucking entertainer. You're an entertainer.
Yeah.
We have skills that a small percentage of the population have.
Facts.
In fact, and for me, there's nobody.
Yeah.
In this city.
Yeah, it's true.
There's no one that does what I do.
True.
I know. I've seen every single fucking guy.
Very true, man.
So I need to hold myself accountable. And that's all that was. And whether they understood it or they didn't, it doesn't matter to me.
You understand
right?
it.
I understand it.
Yeah.
And to you know, for me to come and tell my girlfriend what I did was like the harshest, stupidest thing I could have done, right? She just was like, thank God it was 1 a.m. She was too tired to fucking
Actually
lay
get mad
into
about
me.
it.
But that's the reality, man. Like, and
Yeah.
that's the standard I hold myself to. And realistically, it taught me a lesson about being more prepared for anything.
Yep.
And also taking control immediately of whatever it is that you say that you're great at. Take control and don't let people
Before the
talk.
night begins. Yeah.
Like, no offense to Ashia, but the corrections on the slideshow so many times was a little bit of taking control out of my hands.
Yeah.
And the adding extra pictures last second, the day of, like, people don't understand because they are in their world.
Of course.
But they don't understand when it comes to the people doing things.
Yes.
On the focus and what you need to have prepared and ready, right?
Yeah.
And to her, to defend her, kind of, I had a lot going on in these last 2-3 days. There was a lot happening.
Yeah.
So the party honestly became one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, I got a fucking party to do tonight. So there was a lot of things that were leading into it. It was just a bad timing thing for her. But everyone was happy. So I'm happy.
Dude, everyone had a good time.
Everyone was happy. You know, they couldn't see me that I was like dying inside. You know, it was hilarious.
Well, I think it's really, really awesome that you share this because you shared it with Ty as well. And he suffers from anxiety as well in moments and has trouble figuring out ways to combat it and deal with it. Yeah. And him seeing you do that was very important for him because he saw that it doesn't have to overtake you. It doesn't have to cripple you. It doesn't have to limit you or stop you. You can still move through things. Yeah. And I've been doing some self-diagnosis, trying to figure out what my triggers are because I'm generally very even-tempered.
You are.
Across the board.
Yeah, you're really good.
I don't get phased. I've seen a lot of shit, so I'm good. Yeah. And I've learned that when I'm not good is when I don't want to communicate. And there are periods of times where I just don't want to talk to anybody. Yeah. And that's when I realized, oh, this is my version of whatever that is. Yeah. And I've learned over time to just avoid having to have interactions with people to just make sure I don't know. I've never had an anxiety attack the way you've had, or any kind of these attacks. I just don't want to know that there might be triggers for me.
Yeah.
So if I feel like that's going to happen, I stay away from that space.
That's fair.
And for the whole artist thing, man, we've had a lot of artists on here. We've talked to a lot of artists, singers, musicians, comics. We know a lot of them as well.
Yeah.
And if I were watching any of those guys not prepared, I would be upset.
Yeah.
Because we expect something
Do.
to happen when I see you, right?
Yeah.
And I expect the same thing for myself. I never want to do a show and drop words, drop lyrics, miss songs. Never happens.
Yeah.
Because I over prepare.
You over prepare. You do.
Yeah, and I prepare in a way that's obsessive because I want to make sure that when people see me, it's seamless.
Yeah.
Like I can go from being in a conversation to dropping a freestyle on you,
Yeah.
back to conversation, dropping a spoken word on you. Like I want to be able to be so fluid
Yeah.
that all of my art is an extension of me.
Yeah, you are. You're that good, actually.
And it's important to me. And that for people that just are trying to get into it and trying to figure out their ways, I make it a point to rehearse something every day.
That's really good.
Something that I have written or performed, I rehearse it at some point every day.
That's really
whether
good.
it's a verse or a whole song. Because it constantly keeps your brain in the repetition of memorizing something.
Yeah.
And memorizing it and being able to spit it back out. And that's huge when you're an artist.
Yeah.
Because you want to have things in your tool belt.
Yeah.
Because if you're performing a song and you forget lyrics, you have stuff you can go to.
Yeah.
You're not just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Bring that back. And I've been seeing this a lot because we've been exposing ourselves to a lot of artists, is people bringing phones and papers when they perform.
Oh, yeah.
And some people need it and some people use it as a crutch.
Yeah.
Either way, it's not acceptable.
No, it shouldn't be acceptable.
No. And what you need to do as an artist to do that, to get over this crutch, because essentially what you're doing is you're creating a distraction between the audience and yourself.
Yeah, you really are.
And you're
They
creating
don't-
separation.
Yeah, you are.
Because you're not performing to the audience anymore.
Yeah.
You're performing from your phone.
And you're performing to your own ego. yourself.
Yeah, because at this point you're not engaging with people.
Yeah.
And I think what needs to happen for, especially stand-up comics, I find at a lot of these open mics, and I get it, you're trying out new material. I'm trying out new material as well,
Yeah.
but I'll never have a paper in my hand.
Yeah.
Never, ever
No,
have a paper in my
never,
hand.
ever.
You have to make sure that you have enough in your tool belt to execute.
Oh, it's so true.
Because now the fans are watching you, or the spectators that are potentially going to be fans are watching you, and they watch your eye contact go from them to the paper. Now they're looking at the paper; they're not looking at you anymore.
Yeah.
So you've created this unnecessary separation.
So true, man.
And I want to connect to people. Like when I'm on stage, my goal is to make eye contact with you, connect with you, so that if I see you afterwards, the eye contact that we made is now a connection going forward, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And if you lose that opportunity on stage with people, you never get that back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very hard to murder a set off page.
Oh, I don't even know how those guys do it.
Yeah.
I mean, even as an MC, I don't have any paperwork.
Yeah.
I'm like freestyling
Just go.
everything. I talk to the crowd, I engage, and that's what does it. Like when I go to a room and it's a chirp, chirp, cricket, cricket, like it's like everyone's just kind of staring. It's hard, dude. That's hard to make that crowd laugh and to kind of get in their heads, right? But you just do it. You know, I couldn't imagine having to read from a paper to do it. That'd be just ridiculous. Don't even be up there. If you have to read from your phone or a piece of paper,
Your hand shaking.
just sit down.
And this is the separation between someone that's an entertainer
Yeah.
and someone that wants to try and entertain people.
Yeah, it's totally true.
And this is a natural thing now for us.
Yeah.
We get on stage, you give us a mic, doesn't matter where we are, what the surroundings are, we'll turn it out.
Yeah.
One way or the other, with music
Yeah.
or whatever it is, we'll turn it out.
And that party for me, just for anybody who was there watching whatever and you thought it was great, like it's way better than that. Like I'm way better than that. I was literally just surviving that night, right? And you know, I don't know. It's just, it's one of those things, bro.
Powerful
Like,
though, man.
yeah, it's a real eye opener and a wake up. Like for me, I'm never hiding things. I always share with people around
crazy.
me.
It's crazy.
Because I really enjoy being vulnerable. I love
So
it.
hard, man.
Yeah, I love it though because if anything, you look at the kids and I tell the kids like, dude, I'm going through this right now, like, and they're like, really, you know, like crazy, right? And I want them to see that this happens. You know, we're not fake. You and I are not fake. That's
Yeah.
why we get along so well.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to be fake and just say, oh, yeah, everything's fine. No, I'm fucking struggling like hell right now.
Yeah.
Guys, this is real, right?
And dude,
and I want to teach people shit.
And it's good. I don't know how you take this, but it adds to your legend.
Yeah,
And I'm telling you, these young people really, really do identify with you.
Yeah.
Like they identify with who you are, how you live your life, and the openness that you share with. They totally get it.
Like,
man.
I want them to take advantage of what I have, and I want these kids to throw a party. And if they say, Mike, we're throwing a party, we want you to come do a game show or do entertainment for us, I will come and do it for free for them.
Interesting.
Right? You guys, if you're watching this, do it. Let's do it. I got the buzzers. I got all the shit. Let's have
Yeah.
a fun game night.
Yeah.
Whatever, right? And put people on and roast your friends and all that stuff, right?
I'm going to edit this piece out and share it on Instagram. They will take you up
'Cause
on
they
that.
deserve it. Like, and they, but I do talk. Like, I talk and I try to spit some game to the kids, right? I got them all in one room. I'm going to say, like, this is a reality of life from my perspective. And I give them a little talking, but then we have fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate when kids are looking for, to us
It's amazing.
for advice or for whatever.
Dude,
Like,
it's
this is
amazing,
what we're here
man.
for, right?
It means so much to me as well because I'm surrounded by kids all the time.
Yeah.
And when they're comfortable with me and they actually genuinely ask me for life advice because they may not have the best communication with their parents at home.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, man, you're just like my dad. So can I ask you? And they like openly share these like really deep, dark things that are very personal to them.
Yeah.
That they wouldn't really share with their parents.
Yeah, it's
like,
crazy.
shit, we're doing it right, man.
Yeah, we are.
And it starts with the kids.
Starts with the kids.
Wu-Tang is for the kids, and High Phrase is for the kids.
And okay, so I know we're gonna wrap this up, but I got two issues that we have to talk about.
Yeah.
And I'd rather talk about them on screen. One, we need to set a date for the next High Phrase Live. This is
Good call.
We're getting to this point where we're going we're going beyond the opportunity of being able to set this up. So we definitely have to figure that.
Okay, so July 27th is an available date for us,
Oh, it is a
which
date?
is a Thursday.
It's a Thursday.
July
Okay.
27th, it's available.
All right.
Levels Entertainment has already made it available to us. So,
So we have
can,
like a month and a half for tickets.
Yeah, we have a month and a half. And we have a couple of artists that have already agreed.
Nice.
Tiago Vasquez
Yeah.
is going to come and do an amazing R&B set for us. We'll make sure we get a couple of stand-up comics. So we'll set up a meeting with Tubbs and go do a
Let's do
walkthrough
it.
of the spot.
Yeah, let's
and,
do it, like,
then
in
we'll
the
start
next
promoting
week.
it. Yeah, and then end of August, hopefully we can bang out the cookout.
Okay, awesome.
We'll do it on a Sunday.
Awesome. So we
And
have two good live events coming up.
be very exciting, man. I want to get people together and have them experience what we do and meet us and get to know us a little bit more and add to the subscribership and show people that the things that we're doing are worth doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two, we got our first Man on the Street video coming out
Nice.
tomorrow, the next day.
Very nice.
Right, so it should be all done,
Yeah.
ready to go. I got the homie Zach doing some editing for
Oh,
some
great.
other stuff.
Great.
Right, and I'm gonna throw him that one too. See that he just wants to get busy.
Awesome.
And the other thing is, I met a guy today who said, "Listen," he literally did one of those hand on the shoulders, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "Maverick is my favorite movie of all time." He said, he goes, "I've loved lots of movies." He spat out a bunch of movies he loved. He goes, "After seeing Maverick," he goes, "It's my favorite movie of all time."
Wow.
I'm like, "Shut up." He's like, "No, dude, I'm telling you, you have to go and see it." And he goes, "You have to see it in IMAX." He goes, "You will never experience anything else other." And he was like spitting me information about the filming and all this. Like
Specs.
it was all, there was a lot filmed here. Right?
Yeah.
Cascade Mountains and Rocky Mountains and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And
that Psycho did a lot of his own stunts again.
yeah. And he was just like, "You have to see it." He goes, "It's one of the best movies you'll ever watch."
So
we need to go and see that movie.
this will be the first High Phrase movie night.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, we need to do a review.
Pre-conversation,
Yeah.
post-conversation
Yeah.
to Top Gun.
Maverick.
I've been trying to get everybody I know to watch it. Like,
Why don't they watch it?
I don't know. The reviews are crazy good. It made a ton of money.
Like your kids don't want to see it?
Neither of them care.
Wow.
And I told them, I got them to tell me a Tom Cruise movie that sucked.
Yeah.
Tell me any Tom Cruise movie that you've seen that sucked, and they can't say one.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He doesn't have any bad
Super movie
movies.
star.
Even Mummy was meh, but not terrible.
No, it's awesome.
Every movie's been good.
Really great.
So yeah, well, let's do it. High Phrase IMAX.
Okay, IMAX.
Tom Cruise.
And it's weird because IMAX is on weird days. Like it's not every day.
We might have to do it next week if it's available in IMAX.
Yeah, it's be awesome.
Dope.
Okay, so watch that. We're gonna have a review of Maverick coming up.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm in the need for speed. Is that Top Gun? Was that the first
No.
one? Oh.
Was
Yeehaw,
it?
Rock and roll.
Oh, it might have been Val Kilmer's character, was it?
I'm in the need for speed.
Oh, I
No,
don't
that
remember.
wasn't.
I know that was from a movie, but
That was an old one.
But just a quick plug. Thursday nights, I do a show with Praveen Prasad at Radio Bulamasti. And Monday nights, Instagram Live with Angeline.
One of my favorite people on this planet.
Yeah, she's fantastic. And
Like, no, seriously, you need to listen to her on her podcast.
yeah, she's a brilliant person, man.
I sent her some love a little while ago on her birthday, and I'm just so fucking impressed with that person.
Yeah.
Like, she's one of my favorite people.
And she, I don't know if she mentioned, but she just accomplished a huge feat with
massive.
Canada Way charity. No, not United Way, sorry.
United Way, yeah.
United Way charity. And secured $750,000 to combat
Unbelievable.
period poverty across Canada.
Unbelievable.
So huge shout out to Angeline Prakash from the No Ties podcast.
Yeah.
We do a half an hour show on Instagram Live on Monday nights.
Yeah.
And just talk about news that doesn't get talked about.
Yeah.
We talked about terrible government spending last week, and about how they just blow money on garbage.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I come in with a lot of anger and frustration, and then she breaks down the facts as to the why it's like this, which helps me get an understanding, and hopefully helps people get an understanding as to what's happening. So we're not so reactionary with our anger, because it's frustrating as fuck to see everything happening around us.
Oh, yeah.
We have no control over.
Oh, totally.
We just got to take it.
She's got moves like Jagger.
Inside joke, if you know, you know. I'm elite. Mike Colton. Peace, y'all.
Peace.